You open your phone and there it is. Someone got promoted. Someone got engaged. Someone just bought a house, posted the photos, tagged the location, added the little heart emoji. And you're lying there in the same place you were 6 months ago, or at least it feels that way. And something in your chest just drops. Not jealousy exactly. Something quieter and heavier than that. A kind of ache that whispers, I should be further by now. That feeling, that's what we're talking about today. Because if you've been through any kind of awakening, if your life has cracked open and rearranged itself in ways you didn't plan and couldn't explain to most people, there's a very specific kind of behind that follows you around. It doesn't look like laziness. It doesn't feel like giving up. It feels like everyone else got the map and yours just changed. And you've been trying to navigate with it ever since. It shows up in small moments, scrolling past someone's milestone and feeling your stomach knot before you've even consciously registered what you're looking at. Avoiding certain conversations because someone's going to ask what you're doing now and you don't have an answer that fits in a sentence. Lying awake, running the numbers, your age, your savings, your relationship status, your career trajectory, and feeling the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be like something physical, like weight. And the worst part isn't the comparison itself. The worst part is the shame underneath it, the quiet, grinding sense that everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck doing something invisible that you can't even fully explain. That you're behind not because of circumstances, but because of something fundamental about you. That's the lie. And it's a convincing one, but it's still a lie. Here's what's actually happening. When awakening moves through a life, it doesn't just change your beliefs or your spiritual practice. It changes your operating system. The things that used to motivate you stop working. The goals you spent years building toward start to feel hollow. The identity you constructed, career, relationships, lifestyle, the whole architecture of who you were supposed to become, stops fitting. And dismantling that takes time, real time, not a weekend retreat, not a meditation app, time. But here's the problem. The world around you didn't pause while that happened. Your timeline shifted. Everyone else's kept moving, and now you're standing in the middle of what feels like a construction site. Your old life half demolished, your new one not yet built, watching other people post their finished rooms. That's not being behind. That's being in the middle of something most people never attempt. But your nervous system doesn't know that. Your nervous system looks at the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be, and it registers threat. It tells you you're failing. It pulls up the evidence, the unfinished plans, the detoured career, the relationships that didn't survive the shift, and it builds a case. And when you're in that case, everything looks like proof. Every scroll, every reunion, every casual question about your life, every birthday that passes without the milestone you were supposed to hit by now. The nervous system is efficient. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you by making sense of the gap. But the story it tells, that you're broken, that you're failing, that you're running out of time, is not the truth. It's just the loudest available explanation. So let's reframe this, not with toxic positivity, not with trust the process bumper sticker wisdom, with something more honest. Feeling behind assumes there's a fixed track everyone is supposed to be on, a single timeline with checkpoints: degree by this age, partner by this age, house by this age, stability, clarity, arrival, all scheduled, all measurable, all comparable. But that track was designed for a version of you that no longer exists. The person who woke up, who started feeling things more deeply, seeing things more clearly, questioning everything that used to feel certain. That person cannot run the old race on the old track. Not because they failed, because they outgrew the track. You're not behind. You're in a different season than the people you're comparing yourself to. They're building in summer. You're doing foundation work in winter. Winter looks like nothing from the outside. No visible growth, no announcement-worthy milestones, just quiet, essential, invisible work happening underneath the surface. But winter is not nothing. Winter is where roots go deep. Winter is where the structure gets solid enough to hold what comes next. You are not behind. You are in a rebuild season, and rebuild seasons look different from the outside than they feel on the inside. If this is landing for you, if this channel is giving you language for things you couldn't name before, subscribing keeps this kind of content finding you. That's all it takes. Now, here's the timeline reframe, and this one I want you to actually sit with. Take whatever you're labeling as behind right now, the career that stalled, the relationship that ended, the move you haven't made, the project you haven't launched, the version of your life that was supposed to exist by now but doesn't. Ask yourself, what was that timeline built on? In almost every case, it was built on the old you, the pre-awakening you, the one who had a completely different set of values, a completely different understanding of what mattered, a completely different sense of who they were and what they were here to do. That version of you made plans. Those plans had a timeline. And you are now measuring yourself against a timeline designed by someone you no longer are, for a life you no longer want, according to values you no longer hold. That is not being behind. That is outgrowing a plan. And outgrowing a plan isn't failure, it's information. It's the clearest possible signal that you have changed at a level deep enough that your entire future needs to be redesigned from the inside out. Not tweaked, redesigned. So when something feels late, when the gap feels unbearable, ask, late according to whom? Late according to which version of you? Late according to which set of values? If the honest answer is, according to someone I no longer am, chasing something I no longer want, then you're not late. You're standing in the gap between the old plan and the new one. And that gap, as uncomfortable as it is exactly where the next version of your life gets built. Now let's talk about what actually helps while you're in it. The first practice is the comparison interrupt. It takes about 60 seconds. You can do it anywhere, lying in bed, sitting in your car, standing in the kitchen at midnight when the loop starts again. The moment you notice comparison pulling you under, the chest drop, the stomach knot, the sudden awareness of everything you haven't done, you pause, not to suppress it, just to interrupt the momentum before it builds a full case. Exhale slowly, let your eyes soften, not close, just soften. Unfocus slightly. This is a nervous system signal. It tells your body the threat isn't real. Then say, out loud if you can, internally if you can't. One phrase, return to my lane. Not, I'm fine. Not, I'm grateful. Not a forced reframe. just a redirect. Return to my lane, the one that belongs to my actual life, my actual timing, my actual becoming. Then name one next step, one small thing that belongs to your lane today, not a 5-year plan, not a response to everything you feel behind on. One thing. Exhale, soften, return to lane, one step. Do it once and it feels small. Do it consistently and it starts to rewire the reflex. The second practice is the rebuild ladder. The mistake most people make after awakening restructures their life. They try to rebuild everything at once. New career, new relationships, new purpose, new routine, all at the same time, all under the pressure of feeling behind. That's not rebuilding. That's trying to construct the roof before the foundation is set. The rebuild ladder says, before any big life decision, before you pivot careers, end relationships, relocate, launch anything, stabilize one pillar first. Just one. Choose from these 4. Sleep, food, movement, or creation. Sleep means getting enough of it consistently. Food means eating in a way that grounds your body, not just surviving on anxiety and caffeine. Movement means your body moving in some way that isn't punishment. Creation means making something, anything, that connects you to your own aliveness. Writing, cooking, drawing, planting something. It doesn't have to be productive. It has to be yours. Pick the one most destabilized right now. Start there, just there. When you stabilize even one pillar, your nervous system gets a signal that you are capable of building something. That signal is more powerful than any motivational content. It's the felt experience of being someone who can construct their own life, one deliberate thing at a time. You don't rebuild a life by wanting it differently. You rebuild it by doing one stabilizing thing so consistently that your body starts to believe you again. The third piece is understanding what identity molting actually costs. When a snake sheds its skin, there's a period where the old skin is still attached but already separating. It's uncomfortable, disorienting. The snake's eyes cloud over during the shed. It moves more slowly. It's more vulnerable. And it cannot rush the process. The skin comes off when it comes off, not before. You are in that right now. The identity you're shedding, the goals that no longer fit, the version of success you were chasing before everything shifted, the roles and titles that used to tell you who you were. That skin is still partially attached. The friction, the disorientation, the clouded vision where you can't quite see who you're becoming yet. That is not a sign you're broken. That is the shed in progress. Here's what identity molting costs that nobody talks about. It costs you the comfort of knowing who you are, knowing where you're going, knowing how to explain yourself to other people. During a genuine identity rebuild, you lose the ability to give people a clean answer. And in a world that runs on clean answers, titles, timelines, 5-year plans, that loss is real and disorienting. But the snake that rushes the shed tears its own skin. The process has to happen at the pace it happens. Trying to force clarity before it's ready, locking in a new identity before the old one has fully released. That doesn't speed things up. It creates damage. So if you don't know exactly who you're becoming yet, if the new version of your life isn't fully visible, that's not a problem to solve. That's a process to allow. Clarity comes after the shed, not during it. What looks like behind from the outside is the most vulnerable, necessary phase of becoming something that actually fits who you are now. The people posting milestones aren't in this. Most of them have never been in this. You don't need their timeline, you need yours. If any of this landed, if something in you recognized what rebuild season feels like from the inside, let it sit with you today. You don't have to fix everything this week. You don't have to have the clean story or the 5-year plan. Pick one pillar, stabilize one thing. Return to your lane when comparison pulls you out. Give yourself the same patience you would give someone you love who is going through exactly this. Because you are not behind. You are building something that has never existed before. A life shaped around who you actually became, not who you were supposed to be. That takes longer. It's supposed to. There's more in this series on navigating this season. The isolation, the nervous system piece, the discernment work. Take what's useful. Leave what isn't. You're doing better than you think.